Hello. All right, we're back for this is going to be November the 9th. November the 9th. So let's go through. Let's have a look what we've got. We'll talk about last week's work, and then we'll move on to this week's. So let's go down. Let's have a look. This is last week's. We introduced a grammar point called the conditionals. So we got the zero and the first conditional. And I gave you a few grammar things to look at. We talked about the structure, and there was a video to watch all about the zero. More to do with science, the zero one, and possible things in the future. So it's about the future for the first conditional. This week we'll move on to the second conditional, and in 2 weeks' time we'll do the third. Okay, so there was a worksheet to do, a worksheet here to do, and also there was part of the textbook as well to have a look at, with the listening as well. So we talked about education was the kind of the topic to talk about the first conditional with. School days, a little bit of history there, history subject, and then school subjects. Let's go to the answers, and I'll show you where they are. So these were the answers for the quick first conditional sheet. Of course, it's will, and won't. So it's a future. It's a kind of a future tense. And here is the textbook answers. So you're going to check these up. The history questions in number 1. Number 1A, number 2. The pronunciation of the words there with the underline. You got history, geography, okay, geography, biology, number 7, number 2. Of course, the pronunciation is always on the strong O, the second one. All right. Number 3, maths. That's a British pronunciation of the word maths. In America, they would take off the S. It'd be math. Okay. The full word is mathematics, which has an S. So we shorten it with an S, but Americans would take off the S. All right. Information technology. Okay, that's IT, computer science, and so on. Some more pronunciation there in 2A. And looking at the difference between Chinese and Western styles of teaching. That was the kind of subject. Of course, maths was stronger for our Chinese than in this case British. Same for science, it seems. So that was the main topic. Let's go back. And then after that there was a little speech. Oh no, there was actually a scorecard, wasn't there? There was a report card where you had to talk about yourself. So let's have a look. What do we have? We choose somebody. This is Rin, I think. This is Rin. Rin's answers there. Mathematics, she didn't like. She didn't like mathematics there. She hated it. All right. So what did she say? When I was in high school, I was good at history. I was studying world history hard to take a good score at the exam. It has many things to remember, such as people, wars, year number, matter, place, and so on. It was difficult for me to remember it, but it was interesting at the same time. I want to visit the place where I studied someday. I was really bad at mathematics. I didn't like to study it, so my score was terrible all the time. I took a score of 0 when I was in the 2nd grade. From this reason, math is the worst subject. All right, that's a popular answer, in fact. My behavior at school, what did she think? And what did other people think? My teacher said that I was a straightforward student. I was always concentrating on when the teacher was speaking, and I was finished my task before the deadline. I was studying hard when I was in school, and I want to continue to study harder at Kyoai. All right, so good reports. So Rin had good reports. Okay, so see if you can do that. We still need a few more people to finish those. Make sure you finish those school reports. And then using the first conditional, we had a speech. Click the larger version here, of course, if you needed to choose one of these. So only one from each category. And then you talked about it. So let's have a listen. We'll go with Kokoro, I think.
I disagree with the opinion that says schools should spend most of the time on math, science, and IT, and less on art subjects like history and literature. Because I believe that schools have to help students knowing their possibilities and finding future goals. So art subjects are important as well, and students should learn and experience a lot of things for their future. If schools limit students' learning, they will struggle with finding their future goals. On the other hand, I agree with the opinion that says university students should live independently, not with their parents. Because after graduating from university, most of students will experience living independently, even if it's not right after graduating. To be ready to live independently, university students should experience it.
All right, nicely done there. She was using her strong opinion. Okay, so the first conditional allows you to give a strong opinion of what you think will happen, possibility. If something happens, then this will happen. So she was using strong opinion in there. That's when the first conditional comes in. All right. So that was a good one there. Let's have a look. Let's see who's done it so far. As you can see, pretty much we still need some people. Of course, this is Sunday, not Monday, so you still have time. Yeah, look, we're doing well. We're getting all the speeches in. Okay, keep going, and there will be another one to do this week. So make sure you get those in. Let's look at this week. Let's go back to. So as I say, we're gonna talk about the first. We've talked about the first conditional. We're gonna move on to the second conditional, and the topic that we're gonna use is about houses and homes. Imagination is really the topic. So it's like fantasy if you were rich, that kind of thing. So the vocabulary. What you have to do here, you've got 3 advertisements for houses, renting or buying, and there's space for words here, but I'm not going to give you any help. You got to look at the textbook, you got to go online, you've got to make a good guess of what the word's going to be. Okay, so it should be obvious, but I'm not going to help you anything on this one, and then we're going to check it next time. Don't wait for me. Don't wait for me to do it. Okay, I want you to just submit that. Okay, so don't wait for the answers. See if you can do that before I give you the answers, and then submit that. Okay. So the topic to think about is about houses and vocabulary around houses. All right. That's the first thing to do. And then, of course, we've got the online textbook. Okay. So let's take a look at that. And what we've got here is second conditional, choosing the grammar between the different conditionals practice, and then 3 things about houses. Okay, see if you can do the stressing pronunciation using your phone or your PC. Try and do it. Some people, of course, it's going to be harder with your microphones, but see if you can do it as well. See if you can do everything. That should take you about 50 minutes to do that, to go through everything. All right. And we've also got another 15-minute video. This time, of course, it's the second conditional. And let's have a look. 1 second. All right.
Hey there, I'm Emma from English. Today we're going to roll up our sleeves and practice with the second conditional. Now, this is one of my favorite grammar structures in English because we use it in different ways and we can have lots of fun with it as well.
So, imagination. That's the main point. So she's going to break that down, and I'm going to summarize it here. Second conditional is impossible or imagination or imaginary situations. So if I won the lottery, I would buy a big house. So it's past tense for the first part, and then would buy in the second part. There's a comma after the if part. If you want to flip it round, the second one there, we got she would travel all over the world if she were rich. Okay, not was rich, were rich. So when we have imagination, we change the was to were. So it's an imagination. That's one way. If you get that correct, then English-speaking people immediately know that it's imagination situation. Okay. If I were you, I wouldn't go out with that woman. That's impossible because you can't be somebody else. But if you were, so it's kind of advice. So it's impossible, yeah, but it's actually an advice sentence, giving advice. So the structure is if I, and then the past tense. If you're going to use if, comma, and then plus would, and then the present tense. It's actually the infinitive, but I don't want to use that word. So just remember it's the present tense, the simple present. Okay. It doesn't change. It doesn't go buy, buys, and so on. It just stays as the original word. For example, buy, travel, go. Okay, it doesn't change. It never changes. Okay, but this one does change. If I were, if she were, if you were, okay, that also stays the same. So that's the structure for the second conditional. So what about the speech? Let's go and have a look at that. Oh no, there's a little quiz actually. There's a quiz. I forgot about this. Let me click on this. I made this quiz. It's online. Very useful. This is a website called WordWall. And as you can see there, all you have to do is to add in the right word and 10 times. That should be easy to get. It's called WordWall. It's very useful. I might use that again. And the speech. Let's have a look. I'm going to give you 5 situations. I'm going to call them dilemmas, which is difficult decisions. What would you do in these difficult decisions? Okay. Try and use the second conditional in your answer. So you've got to talk about them, add to Vocaloop, and using the Excel file to add after you've recorded it in Vocaloop. Here's the first one. If you loved a boyfriend or girlfriend who lived in another country, would you live with them abroad and only see your family once a year? If you had the power to change one important thing in the world today, what would you choose to change and why? So if you could go back in time and change, using the Doraemon fantasy, going back to any time in history. Here's number 3. If you notice your friend was shoplifting, that means stealing, when you're both in a clothes shop, he or she says, She will give you some of the clothes later if you don't stop her. What do you do if you see your friend stealing in a shop? Okay, here's a funny one. You work in a restaurant and someone you really don't like comes in and orders from you. Do you serve the food normally or do something else to the food before serving it? Okay, that's a bit of a joke one. And finally, you lend some money to someone but they haven't paid you back yet. Do you remind them and risk an argument or wait for them to remember and pay you back? So somebody owes you money, but you still have to wait for them to pay you back. So there you go. See if you can do dilemmas using the second conditional and then clicking the link there. So that will be here. So let me type in, that's going to be second conditional. And we're going to call it die. We're going to call it second conditional dilemma speech. That means what would you do? That's a bit too big. Just bring that down. Expand that. Okay, second conditional dilemma speech. All right, see if you can do that. And that's going to take you a week to do that one. So that is today, Spoken English A1, November the 9th.